Have you ever sat through a terrible movie just because you already paid for the ticket? Or stayed in a relationship that's clearly not working because you've already invested 3 years? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your brain is sabotaging you. Right now, as we speak, there's a psychological trap that's quietly draining your time, money, and happiness. And the worst part, the more you lose, the harder it becomes to escape. Today, we're exposing the sunk cost fallacy, the mental trap that turns smart people into prisoners of their own past decisions. And by the end of this video, you'll never fall for it again. Picture this. Sarah's been working on her startup for 4 years. She's burned through her savings, maxed out credit cards, and the business is clearly failing. But instead of cutting her losses, she doubles down. "I can't quit now," she tells herself. "Not after everything I've invested." Sound familiar? That's the sunk cost fallacy in action. Here's what's happening in your brain. We're biologically wired to avoid loss. Psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky discovered that losing feels twice as painful as winning feels good. This is called loss aversion, and it's the foundation of the sunk cost trap. The fallacy works like this. You make decisions based on what you've already spent, your sunk costs, rather than what makes sense going forward. It's like continuing to dig a hole because you've already dug so deep, even though you're never going to find treasure. The sunk cost fallacy doesn't just waste what you've already lost. It steals your future too. Every moment you spend trying to justify past investments is a moment you could be investing in something that actually works. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about money or time. When the sunk cost fallacy infiltrates your relationships and career, that's when things get truly destructive. The sunk cost fallacy is a shapeshifter. It shows up everywhere. In relationships, we've been together for 5 years. We can't break up now. Meanwhile, both partners are miserable, staying together not out of love, but out of fear of wasting those years. In careers, meet James. He spent $200,000 on law school and hates being a lawyer. But he keeps showing up to a job that makes him miserable because quitting would mean those loans were for nothing. In everyday decisions, that gym membership you never use but won't cancel. The book you hate but force yourself to finish. The project at work that everyone knows is doomed but continues because we've come too far to stop now. Here's the fascinating part. A study from Northwestern University found that people who are reminded of their past investments are 25% more likely to continue with failing projects. The more we've invested, the more our brain distorts reality to justify continuing. Think about government spending billions on projects everyone knows will fail. Like the Concorde supersonic jet. They knew it would never be profitable, but they'd spent so much that stopping felt impossible. Economists actually call this the Concorde fallacy. Past costs blind us to present reality. We become so focused on not wasting what we've already spent that we waste even more. But why does our brain do this to us? The answer lies in some deeply uncomfortable truths about human psychology. Here's what's really happening in your brain when you fall for sunk costs. 1. Commitment escalation. Psychologist Barry Staw discovered that when we're personally responsible for a decision, we become irrationally committed to making it work. Our ego gets involved. Admitting failure feels like admitting we were wrong. 2. The narrative fallacy. We're storytelling creatures. Once we start something, our brain creates a story where we're the hero who perseveres. Quitting breaks that narrative. It makes us feel like failures, even when quitting is the smartest choice. 3. Cognitive dissonance. When reality clashes with our actions, our brain experiences painful dissonance. To reduce this pain, we literally rewrite reality. We convince ourselves things aren't that bad, that success is just around the corner. Robert Cialdini, author of Influence, found something remarkable. The more effort we put into something, the more we value it, regardless of its actual worth. This is why hazing rituals work, why difficult relationships feel more meaningful. Your brain confuses effort with value. Here's the killer insight. The sunk cost fallacy feeds on your best qualities, your persistence, your optimism, your refusal to give up. It turns your strengths into weaknesses. So how do we break free? How do we stop letting past decisions control our future? The answer requires rewiring how we think about success, failure, and the courage to quit. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Quitting isn't failure. It's a strategic reallocation of resources. Strategy 1, the clean slate test. Before making any decision, ask yourself, if I were starting fresh today, knowing what I know now, would I start this? If the answer is no, it's time to stop, regardless of what you've already invested. Strategy 2, separate past from future. Economists call this ignoring sunk costs. Train yourself to think that money, time, effort is already gone. It's not coming back. The only question is, what's the best use of my resources starting now? Strategy 3, preset exit criteria. Before starting any project or relationship, define clear exit points. Professional poker player Annie Duke calls this thinking in bets. Decide in advance, if X happens or doesn't happen by Y date, I'm out. Strategy 4. The 10-10-10 rule. When facing a sunk cost decision, ask, how will I feel about this in 10 minutes? 10 months? 10 years? This breaks the emotional grip of immediate loss and gives you perspective. Real-world example, Intel's legendary CEO Andy Grove faced this in 1985. Memory chips were Intel's identity, but they were losing money. Grove asked, if we got kicked out and new management came in, what would they do? The answer was obvious. Exit memory chips and focus on microprocessors. That quit made Intel one of the world's most valuable companies. Here's what we've uncovered today. 1. The sunk cost fallacy tricks us into throwing good resources after bad, turning past investments into future prisons. 2. It exploits our loss aversion and ego, making us value effort over outcomes. 3. It shows up everywhere: relationships, careers, daily decisions, stealing our future to justify our past. 4. Breaking free requires a mindset shift, seeing strategic quitting as strength, not weakness. The economist John Maynard Keynes said it best, when the facts change, I change my mind. What do you do? Your past investments, whether time, money, or emotion, are gone. They're sunk. But your future? That's still yours to shape. The question is, will you let yesterday's decisions dictate tomorrow's possibilities? Here's my challenge to you. What's one thing in your life you're holding on to just because you've already invested so much? Share it in the comments below. Sometimes just naming it is the first step to breaking free. Remember, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time? Right now. Don't let the sunk cost fallacy steal another day of your life.